Hello there and welcome to another week on Buddypower.net. I think it's time probably to welcome lots of new buddies because I've been doing quite a few television programmes and radio shows over the past couple of weeks and I've managed to get the word out, and I know that we're welcoming new buddies, so I hope you enjoy it. I've had a very interesting week on the Wright Stuff. Halfway through the week we had a very fascinating discussion about fat. You know how it's most people's dream to lose a bit of weight and to have the perfect figure. But for those people who actually do manage to lose a lot of weight and regain a slim sort of self, does it mean that all their problems go away? Is it the sort of 100% perfection life that they thought might come with being slim again? Or are there problems to losing weight? Are there more concerns? Do you become a different sort of person? Does it change the dynamic at home with your spouse, with your children? Do people at work consider you differently now you're slim? Does that make you worry about the person inside? If you change the physical you, does it change the emotional or spirit? And we had some very interesting people in the audience to talk about that subject. We met two people who we know very well on this website already. One is called Francine, the other is Michelle. Both of them have lost a lot of weight and have very interesting stories to tell. And because of their experience, they're now devoting themselves to helping others. Not only to helping others lose weight, particularly through gastric surgery, but the aftercare that must come after surgery, to help people adjust to their new life, their new way of eating, to make the lifestyle change that we all need to make if weight has been a problem for us. Anyway, you will find their stories fascinating, as Matthew and the rest of the audience did. Here's what they said.
So, slim people are more likely to suffer depression than those who are overweight. That's true.
That's right, and this is kind of the essence of what we're talking about. A Bristol University study found that skinny people were more likely to be unhappy than those who were overweight. The scientists found that as a person's body mass index rose, so their risk of serious depression fell. Welcome back, you're watching. Now, the health benefits of slimming down, I guess, are unquestionable, but once you've reached your weight loss goal, do all of life's problems simply disappear? I think it's quite easy to think they do, because that's what magazines and newspaper articles suggest. But, as I said, in the real world, well, Francine and her audience once weighed over 23 stone and was literally bursting out of her size 32 clothes. How did you feel then?
I felt... it's really weird, because I
have to say, seeing the photo of you there and seeing your photo there, it is... You know, I want to say, I think it's amazing what you've done. I think, yeah.
Well, thank you.
I really do.
The mirror tells you that you've lost the weight and you look slim, but your head still feels fat, even two and a half years later.
When you say head feels fat, what does that mean?
You still feel... I kind of felt invisible when I was fat, because I felt that I was so fat and unimportant and big that nobody was looking at me or found me worthy to talk to, apart from in my work. And now I've still got the residue of that left. That doesn't mean that I'd rather be big, but it means that I still feel very self-conscious, and in a way, and I say it all the time, I feel like a big fat fraud still, because I know I'm slimmer and I've got my gastric band, which has really saved my life and helped me lose the 12.5 stone, but I still feel exposed and invisible at the same time. It's weird.
Well, can I, because we've got psychotherapist Rachel Morris here, and I think there's got to be psychotherapy issues here. When you were fat,
yeah.
Why were you fat? Why were you eating?
I think that I started eating when I was young. I started eating during the ups and downs of my marriage to Clay. You know, we've been married 27 years. Every time I had a baby, we've got 5 kids, I never lost the weight properly. I didn't eat properly. So, therefore, I didn't have the education, I didn't have the self-education to sort it out. And
now, how do you... I mean, did you think that losing weight would lead to a happier life? That you would have a
yeah, and I felt, first of all, I felt that I would look amazing once I got slimmer. I forgot that I would be 25 years older than I was when I was last slim, so now I'm aware that I've got wrinkles and you know, I'm older, and I still wouldn't go back, but it takes you a good year to 18 months to catch up with yourself, really.
Okay, Rachel, so I find this fascinating because we are sold the idea, lose weight, be happy, yeah? So how come Francine is not happier?
Because it's a complete lie. Be thin, be happy. I mean, for a start, happiness isn't a state of being. It's something that we achieve momentarily, like any other human emotion. We experience it, we have it, it moves on, like anything else. Happiness isn't a place we arrive at. And you can't do that whether you're rich, whether you're thin, whether you find the right partner, or whether you succeed in your chosen career. Happiness isn't something we arrive at, as you've realised. And also, one of the overwhelming things I heard Francine say was that she was disappointed that you had these huge expectations of what would happen. And we all get it, don't we, as women? We read those magazines day in, day out. We have those images flashed up before us that say, if you look like this, you could have anything you want. You can have any man you want. You're desirable. And desirability is the answer to everything. Or it feels like it is.
Okay, let's meet another one of our guests that we have with us today. We've got Michelle with us. Hi there. What's your story as well? How large were you?
I was a size 30, 32, 24 stone, 12 pounds, 3 years ago. I had a gastric band, August 2004.
Well, okay.
Yep. Exactly the same as Francine. And food was my addiction of choice.
Just seeing a picture of you there, it's just like looking at a different person.
Yeah. Do you know, looking at that picture, it really makes me very sad because I can't believe that I actually got to that place. I don't quite know how I got there, if I'm totally honest. And it's a different person to
So why did you slim? Did you think what were you aiming for?
Yeah, that's a really interesting
Slimmer
question.
body plus.
Absolutely. At the point of the surgery, I didn't think I had a choice because of health issues that I had. I was a heart attack waiting to happen. 32 years old, you know, and at 25 stone or just under, it was an issue. I did think it would be happier at the end of the journey.
Did?
I did, yes, because it was my dream to be slim. I'd never been slim. Even as I was a fat child, you know, and grew up through the years putting weight on. And food was my addiction of choice. I chose to eat because it made me feel good or it helped me when I was feeling sad. I really couldn't get around that at any time. Now, the issues are still there. I still had a miserable childhood, not so much from a family point of view, but I had issues in my childhood.
They don't change, obviously.
They don't, they're still there, but
that.
I thought they'd disappear at the size 12 that I am now, and they don't.
And what about, because you've got your husband John with us as well?
Yes.
How has it affected the relationship? Because I know, John, you also had weight as well, is that right?
Yeah, I was 22.5 stone. I've also had a gastric band.
Right, OK. This is kind of a big advert for gastric bands, isn't it?
Sorry.
My God, I'm just looking at that photo again of you two, and it's the same as Francine. It's like looking at different people.
We are different people.
Right. Now, that's where it gets interesting. You are different people? You think you're different people? Or are you the same people?
We're the same people inside. We was always there. But you change.
How? What's changed?
Confidence grows.
Does that cause problems?
Definitely.
It can,
yeah.
Because we've just been hearing that, you know, suddenly you're desirable. It might mean you're desirable to other people.
Absolutely, and that's a very good point. And I myself have actually gone through that journey, you know, and I've questioned my marriage a lot of the time. It's really, I've struggled with my marriage for a long time.
What's changed?
Purely because I'm a different person. You know, it really has ruined our relationship. To a point where, you know, I question whether or not we should have married in the first place. I think...
Why? What's changed?
Because when I married and when John married, we were two very different people. We weighed 21 stone heavier between us.
But that's the only thing that was different, wasn't it? From the way you are now, you're the same people, just minus an awful lot of weight.
Yeah, but you have more choices as a slimmer person, and that sounds awful. You can go out there and look around and see that, and be attracted to different people.
And have other people be attracted to you.
Absolutely, yes. And that has really ruined our relationship, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And it really has.
Why? Because you become envious of each other, or you start wishing that you were out with somebody else because they're giving you the eye?
I think it's nice to have attention from other people.
Yeah.
And I think you feel comfortable with each other, as we was when we was 21 stone heavy between us. You're in a comfort zone with each other.
It's easy. You've got the same goals in life because you are addicted to food. My marriage started with a job. and my relationship started with him because he had the same addiction as I had. We both
So
enjoyed
it was the weight
food.
that pulled you together?
Absolutely, it was.
Not just that. So it's also, I mean, often we talk about attraction and we don't know why people are attracted to one another. I have a theory that we're attracted to somebody of equal self-esteem. So somebody who feels about themselves the same way as we feel about ourselves. So you might have a really stunning woman and a really ugly guy, and you kind of look at them and you think, how did that happen? But actually, they've got a similar self-esteem, and maybe that was what drew you together initially. You both felt quite low.
Can I just ask a question? Because I'm fascinated by this. Because one of the things that all three of you have in common is the gastric band. And one of the things about the gastric band is it will enable you to lose weight fairly quickly, yeah? In my own family, and I've talked about this before, my dad had a massive weight loss, and then he had like a midlife crisis off the back of it. He split from my mum for a year, their relationship went into turmoil. They got back together again and everything was sweet. But one of the things that's going through my head, Rachel, is does a rapid weight loss cause these problems? Because... go on, Francine.
Well, I think it does. I lost my weight within a year, and in that year, you know, I wanted to blame Clay for things that had happened that we'd gone through together. I wanted to just throw everything at him and not take responsibility for myself.
Like a midlife crisis
I
kind of
had
thing?
like a little, you know, little midlife crisis.
It's more like an addiction. It's exactly what you were saying earlier on, Michelle. It's about the fact that if you take a heroin away from a heroin addict, he doesn't stop being a heroin addict. He just stops being addicted to heroin.
I became a bit neurotic for it. I became a bit nutty for a year.
Right, and you think
but
it's
some might say that you were a bit nutty to have got that much heavy in the first place.
Absolutely.
So you take away the weight, all the issues that made you put on the weight in the first place were still there.
I cannot imagine how I got so fat. At one of our kids' bar mitzvahs, I thought I looked so glamorous, and Clay told me after I'd lost the weight, he said that this outfit I'd worn, he said it just looked like a great big bloody sack of potatoes, and I was all with my glitz on and everything.
Nice one, Clay.
Yeah. Living that one down, mate.
I have a way with words.
But he just... in fact, at the time, he said he thought I looked beautiful. But he obviously wasn't telling me the truth.
No, she did. She was beautiful. She always is and always has been. But I prefer her now that she's slimmer, not because I don't like fat people, but I just think she looks much better and she's more confident.
I wanted to blame everybody that had ever offended me, ever made vile fat jokes, ever been shallow and insincere. And I went on a tirade for a year or more to go and sort them all out.
How interesting. Listen, just before, because we've got to take calls on this as well, I want to hear, Anne, what do you think about this? Because gastric bands, rapid weight loss...
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and rapid weight loss just by itself can be a problem, I think, for quite
because it has
well, I was told that, you know, the thing is that the gastric band may solve your problem physically, and I'm still sort of a work in progress on that, but it doesn't do anything to up here. And I'm finding I've got to a plateau now, even with a gastric band, because I can adapt to it. You know, I can eat things. I've found ways to still put on weight despite a gastric band, which means I've still got such a lot of work to do in there. And that's what I'm just beginning to address. And it's just what you said. I mean, Francine is still a fat... She's still... No, not a fat person. She's still... You're still the same person.
Yeah.
Your physical... It's just like looking in a mirror. You've got a slimmer body now, but you're still the same person in the head. And you've got to... And that's why... And I would have always denied it up till now. A year or two ago, I would have said, no, I haven't got a mental problem. You know, but actually, I think it is probably an addiction of choice, and food was my addiction of choice.
And I think we're more exposed now as mental cases than ever before. Because you were just a fat, invisible, fat blob before. I mean, now I'm a frigging mental case, aren't I?
It's not a professional term we use.
Okay.
It's been taken seriously.
That's saying this is an advert for gastric bands. I mean,
the pictures,
really.
The pictures, the difference is an advert for gastric.
So much more than the pictures. You know, when it's about... This is the start of obesity being taken seriously. Yeah. This is such a huge problem, and it's facing so many people. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 5 men in the UK, and it's going to get worse. We've got to take this seriously. We've got to really listen.
But this is the bit you never hear, though. This is the bit you never hear. You get sold the dream, slim down, life will be great. Now, OK, it's just a few people we're speaking to now. We've got lots of people on the phones.
Typical, though.
Let's find out if it is more typical.
OK, let's go first to Bernice from Ashford on line 1.
Bernice, good morning.
Hello.
Hi there. So what do you think? Does slimmer bodies lead to happier lives?
Oh, absolutely not. I lost 9 stone, even though I put on another stone. But I was married for 18 years, and my husband became totally jealous, totally obsessed. I didn't end up with what I wanted. I wanted this perfect body, and it wasn't. It got a bit obsessional in the end, actually. I took it a bit too far, hence me putting on another stone.
Right.
And we separated early on in the year, where and he's still obsessional about it, but no, not so. I feel I've got no confidence. When I was bigger, I'd be the first person to get up on the dance floor. Now I'm the one that sits at the back.
Rachel, what do you say to Bernice here?
I'm not sure where I'm saying it to. It's over there, sorry.
Over here, anyway, we'll adapt.
Bernice, I mean, one of the things that I really strongly believe is that eating is an addiction issue, and it sounds as though, are you quite a sort of obsessive personality? When you get your head on something, do you get really focused on it to the detriment of everything else?
No, I'm quite surprised that me of all people managed to have lost that stone, lost that amount of weight, because I've got no willpower at all. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't start losing weight.
You see, sorry to interrupt.
Issues to begin with.
But you see, I've heard this over and over again from people who have obsessional addiction issues. They say, I have no willpower. And what I say to you is, the kind of extreme will that it took to get you to being that overweight in the first place is proof enough that you have willpower. It takes an amazing amount of willpower to will yourself that unhappy.
Okay. We've got so many calls, Bernice, forgive me. I mean, it's interesting to hear that you two share the view. Although, while your relationship's gone, I noticed that our two couples here have been either holding hands or nudging each other, Michelle and John, like a pair of loved-up teenagers. So maybe things aren't quite so grim. We'll have another call.
Okay, let's hear from Nicola now in Fife on line 4.
And Nicola, I'm being told, Corinne told me you're having a gastric band fitted. Is that right?
No, I'm having a gastric bypass.
Right. Okay. I don't know the difference.
It's just a bit more surgery, cutting away things.
A bigger surgery.
Why are you having it fitted, Nicola?
Because I've been overweight all my life.
Okay, and do you think that when you're slimmer, thinner, you'll be happier?
Yes, because I'm planning on living a lot longer than I would if I carry on being overweight like I am.
Okay, when you hear Francine, Michelle, Anne as well saying, I think you're saying very relevantly that the psychological issues here. Do you think maybe that the gastric bypass is not going to be the solution to all your problems?
It's not going to be the solution to all my mental health problems, but it's going to be a solution to my physical health problems, which are overriding the mental health problems at the moment.
Okay. You in a relationship?
Yes, I've been married for 23 years to a really great person.
Now, I'd love to know what he thinks about it, because the change in our female guests here has clearly changed the way other people react to them, and that in turn has had an impact on their relationships. Is that an area of concern?
No, not at all. My husband's in the Royal Navy. He's away at the moment, and his self-esteem is brilliant. My self-esteem is rubbish, and it always has been. So I disagree with what your expert said about people, can be ugly and that, but have the same self-esteem. He's had to be there for me right from the beginning, and he had to teach me an awful lot. He had to teach me how to laugh, how to be happy, all sorts of things, and he's done a brilliant job with me. The only worry he has is that I'll die young if I carry on being overweight.
Sorry, Nicola. Sorry, Nicola, I just want to get last word from Rachel.
I'm just wondering, Anne, whether or not you've sought any sort of psychotherapy or anything for those issues, rather than just relying on your husband to provide them.
No, I have had help in that area, and I've come a long way in 23 years since I met my husband. For a start, when I met him, instead of being called Nicola, I started calling myself Nikki, because I was getting rid of my old life and going into my new life with him, and he's brilliant.
I just think that psychotherapy, I mean, you're talking a lot about your husband, whereas it's quite difficult to get you to stay focused on you, and I imagine that's probably a bit of a pattern in your life.
Yes.
Staying focused on you is what psychotherapy or counselling will help you to do, and also it might just support you in losing that weight at a pace that you can handle the changes rather than go for the surgery.
I mean, that certainly seems to be the one message coming through loud and clear, is there's a degree of pace attached to all of this. I think we're all agreed on that.
But it's amazing how, I run this weight loss support website, Buddypower.net. It's amazing, free, by the way.
It's worth a plug.
Buddypower.net. And please write to me there, Anne, at Buddypower.net, with all these stories, because I'm writing a book about this. But it's amazing how many men and women write to me and say, as well as losing the weight, they lose their spouse.
Right. That's a worry. That is a worry.
Education as well. I find, you know, throughout the UK, if patients are pre-warned about this and the sort of stages that they're going to go through, they can expect it then.
Whereas if you're not told anything and you're just left with this dream, slimmer body, happier you, you can be left with some problems, some big disappointments. Listen, we've got to move on. Thank you, Nicola, for the last call. Before we do go to the break, though, a big heartfelt thank you to Francine and Clay and Michelle and John as well for sharing their stories this morning.
So we're just after the show. Of course, you probably know these ladies quite well. You've seen Francine already, and you've done web chat, haven't you? I have indeed. So you don't need to select. How did you feel it went?
It was fine. It was good. I wasn't nervous. In the end, when I was talking, I was sitting next to Clay. It was great.
I think you've got some really important points across.
Absolutely. It's about education. That's something that both Fran and I are very, very passionate about.